2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4. And the reason why is because that statement is determined by us humans. It's not a type of fact that we can infer from nature or we can deduce from physics. Math is completely invented and made up. It's not actually real, and it doesn't really follow any real logic. It doesn't hold any real logic. It was completely fabricated, and all of the laws that determine any type of equation they don't have to be in that specific way. They could be put in reverse, or they could be remodeled and made to calculate another equation and to determine another equation in another way or in another form. 2 plus 2 can equal 700. Because why not? Because again, who determines that's not the case? Again, we've been kind of conditioned extremely well, I would say, to see math as just like a type of physics, some type of natural phenomenon. Math is as real as gravity, as the laws that govern this world. It's just like a force, it's like a real phenomenon, but that's kind of been again conditioned into our minds through school, through education, through any other type of learning that we've been brought up with. But if we kind of empty our heads and open our minds a little bit, you would come to the strong realization that in all of mathematics is made up. It's fictional. No one discovered math like they just, right? That's something you have to kind of think about. It's not like physics or like gravity or some again real tangible phenomenon that can be measured and proven through observation. Math was completely fabricated and made up, and all of its laws are just determined by us humans. Mathematical laws aren't like natural laws. They're not real in that way. And you have to kind of appreciate that 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's just something we determined. Who's to say 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 5 or 6 or 8 or 9? Who's to say that 1 plus 5 doesn't equal a billion? Again, it was all of these mathematical truths were determined by us. All of these equations, we made the rules for these equations. We made the rules for how math functions. These rules aren't actually real. We didn't discover these rules like, again, we discovered the laws of nature or the laws of physics. We made these laws for math, and we determined them according to our personal judgments. And that's something a lot of people don't appreciate, that math is not real. It's completely made up. And it kind of shocks me. A mathematical fact is an oxymoron. There is no mathematical fact. Math is something we invented, and it can't be proven to be true in any meaningful way. Again, 1 plus 1 equals 2. A lot of that has to do with conditioning. Could you put 1 plus 1 into a, so to speak, into a test tube and conduct like some type of scientific experiment to deduce and conclude that 1 plus 1 indeed actually equals 2? Could you perform some type of experiment to confirm that? Of course not, right? Because 1 plus 1, these numbers, they're literally imaginary. They don't correspond to any real life phenomenon. They're just something we invented and determined how they function, how 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's that type of equation. We determined how that should be. That's not something that was inferred from nature or concluded based off some type of real observational phenomenon. It was just something we fabricated in our heads. And that kind of makes me strongly believe that math is just imaginary, it's fictional, it's fabricated, it's something we just invented and made up, and we determined all of the laws for mathematics. These laws are just pure, they're arbitrary, they're not real. Any equation can be put in reverse or made in any other type of way, in my opinion, based off how math is just, again, something that we invented. It's completely arbitrary. No equation has to be the way it is. It can be made in any other different way. And again, 1 plus 1 equals 2. Who's to say 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 5 billion or any other type of number? Again, because who's to say that? Math, all the laws of mathematics, we are determined by us humans, us fallible humans. We arbitrarily made up the laws of mathematics. We imagined it up. It wasn't based off any type of law, any type of scientific experiment or any real observation of phenomenon. Again, math is something we just made up and invented. You gotta kind of have to appreciate that it's completely imaginary and not real.